We are 50% of the way there, Newcastle fans. That's one half ticked off, one to go to get to those beautiful Wembley arches. And there's plenty to talk about. Pope in goal, will he ever concede? Maybe Bruno does know what we need, and maybe it is Isak in attack in future. And so much more. It's the Newcastle United Carabao Cup semi-final, first leg, last word, so stick around because, as I said, there's plenty to get through. Welcome back to Blackandwhitebanter, you sexy as hell Newcastle fans. I'm saying welcome back. If you've never been on this video before, you've never seen this face before, as I always do, I'll apologise for it, but you might like my voice and my opinion on this video. But regardless of whether you do or you don't, right now, give us one of them. Give us a little like, continue watching, and then if you do like me by the end of this, whack that subscribe. Blackandwhitebanter is across all social media. We've had a couple of absolutely viral as hell posts in the last 48 hours on different topics in the build-up to the semi-final. It's absolutely boomed. We've had celebrity Geordie singers commenting on them on Facebook, all sorts of stuff going off. So get us on there if you're curious. And I know that you are. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Do it now. So as I record this video, as I sit here, I am almost feeling the hangover from what was one of the most magical nights of my Newcastle supporting life so far. It was the biggest away game I've ever been to, and I knew that going in, and it lived up to that. It really did. I didn't get back in the house until 7 o'clock, just before 7 o'clock in the morning. So that was a long old journey back, but it was worth it, and I wouldn't change it for the world. Supporters bus was great crack going down, but the feeling in the air. What I noticed about last night was you realise how much your football club means to you on nights like that. The nervousness going down, the multiple visits to the toilet for poos, as I said on my match vlog, the talk between everyone, the atmosphere in the stadium, in the bar beforehand, in the street as you walk into the bar. It's so much more than a game for us Newcastle fans. It really is. We are... You know, I know it's the same for a lot of football fans across the world, and I'm very biased, but we are just such a unique breed of follow them everywhere, sing our hearts out, all together as one. And it was just an amazing night. It lived up to it, and we got the result, Newcastle fans. And I'm tired as hell because I've had this any kip as I'm recording this video, but I'm on absolute cloud nine. The aim of that match was to not be heavily defeated going into the second leg. Having the second leg's huge, as a lot of us have already talked about. And it's weird to play a team over 180 minutes, but we did it. And to be totally honest with you, yes, Pope saved us, and we'll talk about him in a couple of minutes. We did it pretty well. We really did do it pretty well. Joe Linton should have scored another. Should he have had a hat-trick? Was that a handball? I don't think it was in a million Sundays. So you could even argue Joey should have taken the match ball home. Isak's had a chance late on. Murphy's had a chance where he's hit the side netting. We were good in that second half. First half, we were poor, in my opinion, by the standards Eddie Howe set. We were sloppy with the ball. Their intensity, I think, took us off guard a little bit. We were a little bit surprised by how much they really were pushing us and pushing to close us down. Like I say, we're a little bit slow to get the ball out of our feet and really pass and move with that intensity and speed that we've become used to. But second half, as is becoming a common theme, was much better. I think, God, I could think of the last 3 or 4 matches we've been better, especially at St James's Park in the second half. And long may that continue as well, because, you know, first half can be about stifling teams sometimes. So on we go to the second leg, and because we've won that one, I am more than confident. I had my hotel in Wembley booked. I do think we're going to get there. I really do. There's no way Southampton can burst the bubble of what that atmosphere will be like on Tuesday. But let's get into the talking points about this. This is the last word, and on the last word, I like to tick off specific talking points. So first one for me from that match, Nick Pope. I don't think I've singled Nick Pope out. We talk about him quite a lot in my videos, but we haven't singled him out for praise. I know his clean sheet record is nothing short of phenomenal. It really is. How it's been this long now that he's conceded without him conceding a goal is just ridiculous. And the more I'm watching Nick Pope and really observing him, you know, goalkeeper's a position as long as that guy keeps the ball out of the back of the net, that's all we're really bothered about as fans. I don't think your general football fan analyses a goalkeeper as much because it's quite a niche position. But what I'm noticing, we have a guy on our hands here who is a fantastic reader of the ball. That's the thing I notice. If a ball's over the top, you can guarantee Nick Pope is on his toes constantly and he mops things up. He mops things up with a slide tackle. He did last night where he basically killed that that bloke with his dick and balls and he had to go off Gineppo. He headed it and then obviously crashed into him. He's just fantastic at reading the game, and that's proven to go a long way because our defence is hard to get through and a lot of teams are relying on maybe half a yard of pace or a ball maybe over the top. Nick Pope's all over it. Secondly, how much he commands his box. I've always said in years gone by that Shea Given, as much as I loved him and he's a Newcastle legend for me growing up as well, I was lucky enough to watch him play. He wasn't very good at commanding his box. Dubravka wasn't very good at commanding his box. In Nick Pope, we have a very tall goalkeeper, which I think goes a long way, and a man who likes to put himself about. And most importantly, last but certainly not least, he's shot stopping. Second to none. A lot of talk of him, is he one of the best in the world at the moment? For me, he has to be. Look at his clean sheet record. Yes, he's got an absolute brick wall in front of him, which is helping that record. It's a collective record, that, to not concede a goal. But he has made some incredible saves across this season. And again, last night when Che Adams goes through, that's a crucial time in the game. It's crucial. We were starting to get a foothold on it. Then Southampton broke. If they'd scored that, I don't know where that game would have went. That was a really, really important moment in that match. And he's just been fantastic. Look at his price tag. And yes, is he the complete goalkeeper? No, because he's still not very good with his feet. And I'm not going to deny that. I don't think Nick Pope would deny that if you sat having a pint of lager and a pack of crisps with him in the pub and you asked him about his weaker points. He's a little bit jittery when he has the ball at his feet. That's probably the only thing where Southgate's maybe thinking, do I bring him out for Pickford? I know Pickford's never let England down, and that's why he retains his jersey, which you can argue is fair enough. But Nick Pope, for me at the moment, is just as crucial a team member as Botman, as Bruno, who we give so much praise to on a weekly basis, to Almiron, who soaked up the plaudits this season. Nick Pope is, if not more important, just as important. And long may the accolades continue, because it feels like I was literally in nappies when he last conceded a goal. And I think when he does, he's going to be like, what do I do now? Is the ball really just hit the back of me? It's just incredible how long he's gone. So yes, Nick Pope was brilliant again last night, and he did deserve a large amount of them applause. I don't think Bruno was man of the match. I don't know where the Carabao sponsors get that. I don't know where they get the man of the match things for. I thought Bruno had a very average game, if I'm being totally honest. When he was interviewed with Pope, I think Pope should have won that award, but hey ho. Next up for me is obviously Isak in attack. We've got Bruno in the middle, and we know how the song goes. Isak in attack. Bruno knows what we need. Maybe it is Isak in attack. Now, Callum Wilson's been a talking point going into this game all the way down on the bus. It was, should Callum Wilson start? He's been a little bit off colour, a little bit off the Callum Wilson that we know. I wanted him to play because I still think there's a great player in there. We know there is. We know there's a natural goal scorer, and sometimes with a striker, every striker goes through a barren run. Once you get one, it's like London buses. It's like London buses that we'll be hopping on soon in a couple of weeks, hopefully, down at that lovely Wembley Stadium. But sorry, I just had to get that in. But yeah, once one comes, I backed him last night. But again, very minimal involvement. But that also falls down to service, and we can't forget that Callum Wilson isn't going to, he is a great link-up striker. He's not going to necessarily create loads of stuff for himself. He's not the sort of striker who's going to drop really deep. He likes to run the channels, which we're not seeing as much of him doing at the moment. But then I guess you've got Miggy on one side doing that, and then you've got Mr. Willock, who's a little speed merchant on his day on the other side. He just does look a little bit off colour. Eddie Howe's talked about him never being right since he got ill over the Christmas period. I don't know. He doesn't look great. So Isak coming in, he just turned the game for us last night. And as much as I love Mr. Callum Wilson, I think it could be time for him to have a break. Maybe get his head back in the game. I think the fact we don't have a fixture this week on Saturday, a full week to prepare, is brilliant for Callum Wilson. If Eddie Howe's saying he hasn't trained properly since his illness, then for us to have a full week with no fixture is wonderful for him. Maybe give him a day off. Maybe give him just a bit of gym time, bit of sauna time, or whatever it takes to get him back in the zone. But does Isak play? For me, he has to. He does. If you're going to come on and make as big an impact as what he did against Fulham with his goal and how direct he looked when he came on in that short spell at St James's last week. Sheffield Wednesday, his first game back in 45 minutes, he had a couple of chances and he looked really bright on what was a pretty poor day everywhere else. And he's come in and he's turned the game on its head. He really, really has. That turn of pace on the right-hand side, bang, see you later. There you go, Joey. Tap that in because I want to get to Wembley. It was as simple as that. And he should have scored later on. Maybe me being a bit critical when he takes it on the goalkeeper. He just needed a bit more composure or even to cross it to Longstaff in the middle for a tap in. But he's just looking so bright and direct. And he's looking to do them things that Wilson seems to have dropped off on in recent weeks. The running of the channels, the running at a man, the just explosion, the energy, the intensity. I think that's what Callum Wilson's dropped off in a little bit, which makes you think that maybe it is something not right with maybe his fitness levels or just his physique in general, his general... I don't know. But for me, Isak going into the second leg, for me, does start in place of Callum Wilson. He has to. Now, that opens up the debate of Maximin on the left-hand side. Now, I know so many people will be saying, get them both in, because Maximin was good. I want Maximin to make me love him again. I do. I am not sitting here as a set-in-stone Isak Saint Maximin hater. I'm not. I wouldn't sell him in this window. Depending on how his performances continued, I'd maybe consider it in the summer. But he came on last night and he caused them all sorts of problems. He got the man sent off. He was here, there, and he was everywhere. His decision-making looked a little bit better when he was on the pitch last night with his passes when he decided to do them, but also when he decided to take a man on, because we don't want to see that drop from Maximin's game. It's what makes Isak Saint Maximin that gem in a bucket full of sterling silver, that diamond in the sterling silver pot, because not many players can dribble and take a man on like he can, but it's also important that he fine-tunes that a little bit, like a DJ doing a mix, to get his passing right at the right times as well, to get us up the pitch and keep the ball. And I thought he was great. The only reason I wouldn't start him is because I think Southampton are going to come. They're going to have to go for it in the second leg. They're not a great side, but they did cause us problems. They will get a chance, and they will probably be a little bit more direct and a little bit more open to taking risks. And I think Isak Saint Maximin is still yet to convince me from a defensive point of view. I don't want to see the midfield changed against Leicester. I know there's going to be a lot of Newcastle fans watching this. Let me know in the comments who would want Alan and Isak both in from the start. I think bring Isak in and then still give Maximin maybe 45 minutes, maybe 60 minutes. We've got a 1-0 lead here. We don't need to be going all out. I know it's the Eddie Howe way. We only really play one way now, which is amazing. We batter and we batter and we batter. But there's a level of defensive work that needs to be done there for a Southampton team that might take a few risks, because it's not like a league game where you're happy to maybe go for a point, or you don't want your goal difference to go down, whatever. They are literally nothing to lose. As the game goes on as well, if it stays 0-0, for example, 1-0 to us across both matches, they will have to come out. And I would just prefer the likes of Joe Willock, the likes of Joe Linton for that defensive work on that left-hand side to cover Dan Burn. I would just like to see that in from the start. So Isak, yes. Maximin, not from the beginning of the match for me. But what a wonderful contribution from the both of them. And that's maybe, I'm hoping these players, if they start to pick up the form that we want them to see, and Isak certainly looks like he's going to, we've struggled in front of goal. Let's hope that these two can propel us up a little bit, because defensively we know we're amazing. Attacking wise, that's what's letting us down a little bit. And if, and it's a big if, we get to a final against Man United, which they've just won 3-0 tonight as I record this video, it looks like that's who we'd be playing. We need to be clinical to beat Man United at Wembley. And my God, what a crazy statement that is to make, by the way. Let's just keep that for another day. Us at Wembley against Man United, the team I hate. Bit of an unusual one to move into next now. In the first half of the match, bit of a negative one, and I wasn't going to talk about this, but I'm going to, because it's stayed on my mind ever since, and it really annoyed me. In the first half of the match at St Mary's last night, I had a fan to my left. We were all chanting, all singing, who decided to pick me out for my accent. Spent 10 minutes of the first half chewing my lug off, telling me how, called me a smoggy C-U-N-T. I won't say that word on my video because I don't really like the word anyway. Called me a smoggy, called me a macam. I very quickly told him I'm from County Durham, and I'm sure there's lots of Newcastle fans who maybe watch this video and think, oh, he's not a Geordie. I've had comments on YouTube videos that I've deleted, and I just think it is such a stupid mentality. So this bloke told me that he likes all Newcastle fans to be from Newcastle. I'm from County Durham, where it's split down the middle. Do you know what? What I asked him last night was, so I'm assuming you're not a fan of Sir Bobby Robson, then are you not? He gave us this look. Because where was Sir Bobby Robson from? The late, great, wonderful Sir Bobby Robson. He was a County Durham lad. And growing up, if I went to watch Newcastle versus Sunderland in the pub, it would be split down the middle. My dad's a Newcastle fan. I've taken after him. I've supported this football club all my life. Home and away I've been this season, and I've got a guy chewing me lug off because I don't sound like I'm from Newcastle. It absolutely drove me insane to the point where I was just laughing him off. So please, again in the comments, let me know if you're a little bit more narrow-minded, that you think all Newcastle fans should be literally basically born on St James's Park penalty spot. Let me know. Maybe I think that's... I'd like to hope there's a lot more people who think that's ridiculous, but this guy ruined the first half of that match for me, because I don't know whether he was off his lips, whether he'd had a bag, I don't know, but he chose to just, rather than watch the game and get behind the boys with a great atmosphere, everyone pissed up for the semi-final, talk about my accent and why I shouldn't be there. Apparently I should support my local team, he told us. So let me know your thoughts on that, because that really, really wound me up. But generally speaking, Newcastle fans, I could talk about a million things from last night. Those were the three that I always try and pick out for my last word videos. But what a wonderful time, as I keep saying. I sound like a stuck record, ending with this positive sort of message. What a time to be a Newcastle fan. We had one job in that semi-final first leg, was to not get heavily beaten, and if at all possible, do the amazing and come back with a win. We've done that. We've got a St James's Park atmosphere to look forward to on Tuesday, which will be unlike anything I've ever experienced before. Better than Marseille in the UEFA Cup semi-final. Better than Benfica in the quarter-final second leg. This will be scarf waving, chanting, singing, celebrating. And if that full-time whistle can go at St James's Park, can you imagine what we will experience confirming a place at Wembley for our first ever League Cup final since the late 70s? Can you imagine what Newcastle will be like? I'll have my meat and two veg out. I'll be climbing Monument. I'll be fucking belly sliding all the way down to the big market for a sing-song in Cosy Joe's. It will be electric. I'm going to go and get some sleep now, because that Southampton trip has absolutely done me over. If you haven't watched my match vlog yet for it, please do. I loved making it. It was one of the most drunk, rowdy, loud away ends I've ever been in. So please just go a bit further down, check it out. Give us a little like and a subscribe. The support for YouTube, the support I'm getting from people buying my merchandise, coming up to me at matches, has been absolutely incredible, and that's what makes me love doing these videos even more. And I'll see you on the next one with what looks like maybe some transfer news coming in the next couple of days. So we'll keep our eyes peeled for that one before that Leicester game. But enjoy your week, Newcastle fans, because it is a fucking fantastic week to support Newcastle. Tell me, mommy, ma, we might actually be going to Wembley, so not to put the tea on. See you later.